Welcome back, our dear viewer. We continue our live coverage for the latest developments after the explosion that took place today at Cairo St. Mark Cathedral and that killed up till this moment 25 people and injuring more than 49 others. And to shed more light, we are joined over the phone by Dr. Ibrahim Al-Ghazawi, our strategic and security expert. Dr. Ibrahim, hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Of course, sir, we have seen today a very sad event that took place with the explosion in St. Mark Cathedral, killing more than 25 people. Sir, how do you read the incident and the timing of that explosion?
Well, let me first start my talk with due condolences to the families of the victims, the martyrs, and to the sincere wishes for the injured people for very quick recovery, inshallah. Yes. And we have to link what happened today and what happened on Friday in Al-Haram explosion. So the positive changes that start to take place in recent Egypt economy. Yeah. We have to understand that these vicious forces that host terrorism activities and host also very ugly, violent attitudes towards the Egyptian community would not be pleased to see any positive change take place in our country today. The recent economic reforms and some other symptoms of recovery for the Egyptian economy recently, I'm quite sure was not a source of pleasure for them. Yeah. That's why we have to expect that sort of terrorism activities. Yes. Unfortunately, we cannot accept this morally or religiously or whatever, because those people are sincere worshippers and they were mostly women and children. And this horrible act cannot be acceptable at all levels, no matter what the causes behind it was. So we have to reiterate the fact that the security confrontation, whether from the army in Sinai or security forces in the whole country, should be always in full alert. And for every citizen, every Egyptian citizen in the street, we have to accept and understand that we are all responsible today with security forces to support them, to see and to report any suspicious acts or suspicious moves by some people. We have also understand that we are all in the same circle of threat. We are all targeted, not only police, not only military.
Yes, indeed. And we have seen, sir, as you kindly mentioned, that the explosion today mainly was at the side of women, which had many women and children, innocent civilians, sitting, praying, and sitting on the church. So what's your take on that? It's a very cowardly act.
Exactly. And that's why we have to think and analyze about this. This sort of act would reveal to how far those people have gone in terms of they don't have heart, they don't have mind, and they don't have conscience. So we have to be prepared for such events. Hopefully it will not reoccur in future, but we have to be careful because most probably it will happen again in some other location. Yeah. That's why we have to send a message to not only to security forces or police, but to every Egyptian, as I said before, that this is all our responsibilities. It's not only the police or the army. And we are all in the same battlefield of terrorism confrontation. This is our country, and we should defend it.
Yes. Dr. Ibrahim, right after the explosion, of course, Prime Minister Sharif Ismail did go to the site of the incident, to the cathedral, to be there on the ground. What's your take on that as well?
Well, I think he did what he must do as chief of the cabinet, and I'm quite sure that all the officials, the key officials in the country, even the president himself, it's a sort of condition where all Egyptians have to feel the same and have to react to the same. Of course, we all feel pain today.
Indeed, yes.
Towards what's happened. Those are our sisters, our kids, and our brothers who were victims of this ugly and cold explosion. And we have all to join hands. This is time for us to join hands together.
Yes,
no matter whether we are Muslims or Christians, we are above all Egyptians, and we have the same destiny and the same future all together.
Sir, as you have kindly said, that we have to unite in order to face the terrorism, and that would not differentiate between a religion, between who is the victim. So what steps should be taken on the ground to face the growing terrorism, not only in Egypt, but in the whole world, sir?
Well, that takes us to the fact that probably have been covered recently more extensively than ever, that about terrorism, it's not a one country battle, it's the whole world battle today. We have to accept this as a fact, inevitable fact indeed. We have witnessed even today very recent bombings that killed tens of victims in Turkey, in Istanbul. And yesterday, the day before yesterday, every day we witnessed such terrorism activities in different locations and spots in the world.
Yeah.
It means simply that we have to be above that sort of divisions, trifle or small divisions that usually divide countries and make them do not work together. Today we have to join hands.
Yes.
No matter we have political differences, even between Egypt and Turkey and any other country, we need today to understand that in terms of stability, development, and the feeling of security for all citizens, not only in Egypt, the whole region and the whole world, we have to join hands. And we have to work in such very elaborate mechanisms and plans how to defeat terrorism. It's not an easy task. It's really very tough because it needs direct and indirect confrontations. And the indirect confrontations even more complicated and more time-consuming plans. It will take time and will take money because you are addressing the roots of the phenomenon itself.
Dr. Ibrahim, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi yesterday during the youth conference said that we are facing enormous challenges, at top of which is the terrorism that is seeking to destroy the country and is related to external entities. That, of course, during his speech yesterday, ahead of the incident, the sad incident of the explosion of today. So it's very alarming how the terrorism now is representing a real challenge to Egypt.
Yes, indeed, it is.
Yes.
It is so alarming and it's so horrible, and we have to remember that those who are waiting to kill the pleasure and kill our good times and kill our trials to move forward and to develop our country and bring stability back to our country will not be easily defeated unless we are all feel that we are all together in one hand. We have to join hands, not only join feelings. Feelings, yes, we all feel sad today and yesterday and the day before yesterday. Now we have to join hands together. So we have to back up the security forces and the army. We have to remember that the army is fighting a very strong battle in Sinai, and more or less Sinai is mostly clean today, except for very small spots. This victories that have been achieved recently, as I told you, will incite those groups to concentrate their efforts and commit more and more attacks to say that they are still on the ground, they still have power, and they can still, react.
Yes.
That means simply we have to be more alert.
Indeed.
Not only the police, but the whole community.
Yes.
Those people are among us. They use or whatever they use and their tools, they are making it, they are using it, while they are among us. So for every Egyptian today, we have to be very much on alert. We have to be very watchful to what is happening around us and among us, and report any suspicious act to the police.
Yes, sir. People should be very much alert because the betrayal could come from the very close passerby. Dr. Ibrahim Al-Ghazawi, our strategic and security expert, thank you very much for your precious input. And our dear viewers, as we have mentioned before, that an explosion on Sunday in the morning took place at the St. Mark Cathedral, killing 25 people and injuring 49. St. Mark is the seat of Egypt Orthodox Christian Church and is home to the office of spiritual leader Pope Tawadros II. The bomb was reportedly lobbed inside the chapel that is adjacent to the cathedral outer wall. Prime Minister Sharif Ismail arrived at the site of the explosion as well as a team of public prosecutors. They were dispatched to the area to conduct investigations. Church sources said the police are unloading surveillance cameras for the information on the bombing. Our dear viewers, of course, our coverage for that event is continuing throughout the day. Now we'll go to a short break, and after that we'll be back to continue our live coverage, so stay tuned.
أنا لم أكبل أيديكم للثأر لشهداء مصر. أنتم اللي هتاخدوا طار مصر، وأنتم اللي هتدافعوا عنها، وأنتم اللي هتحميها، وأنتم اللي هتموتوا عشانها، ومحدش أبدا هيقدر ينال منها مهما كانت قوته ومهما كان حجمه ومهما كان تنظيمه. بس اوعوا تظلموا.
Welcome back again, our dear viewers, and our live coverage for today's explosion that took place at the Abbasiyya Cathedral. The St. Mark Cathedral did take place, unfortunately, in the morning, killing people there, killing about 25 people and injuring about 49 others. To shed more light on that incident, we are joined over the phone by Engineer Hassan Shaaban, our political analyst. Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Hassan.
Hello. Are you on?
Hi, sir. Sir, what's your take on the explosion that took place today at the cathedral, killing 35 people and injuring 49 others?
This is an act of treason. Anybody who commits such a crime against our brothers, the Christian brothers and the Copts, should be accused of treason, actually.
Indeed.
This is an awful crime in a special day for the Egyptians and for the Muslims. Today is the Prophet Muhammad birth anniversary, and as Muslims are celebrating that, this is a feast of love and tranquility, and everybody's taking it easy and celebrating. While we are celebrating, somebody stabs us from the back and kills 25 innocent Egyptians, women and children. I find it very annoying, and I think the state should take harsh measures against whomever committed such a crime. Especially, I think this has something to do with the execution of Adel Habbara and the other 6 criminals and terrorists who actually committed the crime of assassinating our soldiers in Sinai about 3-4 years ago. So actually, we are really in a war against terrorism. I'm surprised that we did not have cameras along the fence and in the cathedral, actually.
I do believe, sir, that there are surveillance cameras that the police and the investigators are now trying to see and to see who might be behind that terrorist attack.
Very good. This is good news, because everybody's wondering what's going on, because, this cathedral is a very critical point, and there is always security around it. And I'm sure that the Ministry of Interior have, very strict measures in this particular area. So I think this is a moment of solidarity. All of us, Muslims and Christians,
Indeed.
should actually get together. We are facing the same enemy. One enemy against the state, one enemy against Egypt. We will all stand together, hand to hand, and we will fight terrorism till the end.
Yes.
Terrorism will not discriminate between a Muslim or a Christian.
Yes.
We are all in the same trench, and we're going to face these people till the end. We will not retreat till we clean Egypt from all terrorist activities.
Yes, sir. Sir, again, about the timing of the explosion, today is a national holiday because of the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The Christians are fasting because of course, the Christmas, ahead of the 7th of January celebrations. So they did use that against the people who are going to the church in a national holiday during the fasting time in order to commit that cowardly crime. So what's your take on that, sir?
I think they chose actually this time to create a crack in the national wall. The patriotic Egyptians always have the wisdom to bypass all this. Actually, the choice is a very mean choice.
It is, and most of the victims are women and children as well.
This is a mean act.
Indeed,
this is, as I said, this is a very, very tragic incident. Similar, it's even worse than what happened during Hosni Mubarak's era on the martyrs church in Alexandria.
Yes.
Actually, we should actually all, in spite of what the terrorists might think, that this will create a crack in our solidarity and patriotism. No, we are all getting together. There is no discrimination between a Copt and a Muslim. This is a time of war. We will all face a common enemy, and we will win. We have a very brave president who's actually leading us in this war, and we will not give up. A few days ago, we lost a number of our officers and soldiers in Al-Hara, in the pyramids area, and today we lost our brothers and sisters and our children who actually died today. We will actually get the vendetta for that. We will punish these terrorists. And actually, I salute our army and I salute our Ministry of Interior. But again, I would like to see justice take place faster.
Yes, indeed, indeed.
We cannot wait years and years. They are utilizing our justice procedures to their benefit. People would like to see vendetta. Who will get revenge for the children and women who died today?
Yes, of course, we would need a speedy revenge for our martyrs. On Friday, today, and all our martyrs that lost their lives because of that terrorism. Mr. Hassan Shaaban, our political analyst, thank you very much.
Mahestia, I would like to add one little thing. I don't like the crowds in the scene of the crime.
Yes, indeed.
I'm just, because they are very wicked. They might have another bomb or something. So I would like just to see the stage of the crime a little bit clearer, because we don't want any more victims.
Indeed, sir.
And I do not think that this will be the end of it. It will be repeated again and again. And I don't doubt it if they do the same thing in a mosque or something like this.
Yes, sir. It's a very important point that the scene of the crimes has to be clear only with the presence of the investigators there. Mr. Hassan Shaaban, our political analyst, thank you very much, sir, for your precious input. And our dear viewers, we will continue our coverage for today's incident, the explosion that took place at the cathedral that killed 25 people and injured 49 others. A short break, and after that we'll be back to continue our coverage, so stay tuned.
مهما تعملوا مهما تقتلوا مكملين كفاحنا ده احنا رحنا للوطن نفدي أهلنا نفدي شعبنا نفدي كل شبر فيها لله والوطن مهما تعملوا مهما تقتلوا مكملين كفاحنا ده احنا رحنا للوطن نفدي أهلنا نفدي شعبنا نفدي كل شبر فيها لله والوطن حداد ورا حداد ورا شهداء جداد يخلق عزيمة فينا سينا تبقى نور ونار حلفنا 100 يمين ناخد بطريقتين وأم راح طلاها منها جوا منها نار حداد ورا حداد ورا شهداء جداد يخلق عزيمة فينا سينا تبقى نور ونار حلفنا 100 يمين ناخد بطريقتين وأم راح طلاها منها جوا منها نار
هو الحكايه كده، هي الحكايه كده. انا بقول الكلام ده ليه؟ لان انا ما يهمنيش اي حد في الدنيا غيركم. انا ما يهمنيش غير المصريين. مستعد اقف قدام الدنيا كلها، انما تكونوا انتوا معايا. انما غير كده انا ما اقدرش اقاوم الا بيكم. ما اقدرش اقاوم الا بيكم انتم المصريين اللي انتوا غيرتوا الدنيا دلوقتي.
عهدنا ربنا نحمي أرضنا وفرحة الشهادة للشهيد بتكون شرف هتدفعوا الثمن ويشهد الزمن كل اللي خان بلاده بان ودلوقتي اتعرف وحدوا الصفوف جمعوا القلوب سدوا كل باب موارد امنعوا الخطر فوقوا القيام انتباه اوام رجعوا الروح اللي خلت المصري انتصر حداد ورا حداد ورا شهداء جداد يخلق عزيمة فينا سينا تبقى نور ونار حلفنا 100 يمين ناخد بطريقتين وأم راح طلاها منها جوا منها نار حداد ورا حداد ورا شهداء جداد يخلق عزيمة فينا سينا تبقى نور ونار حلفنا 100 يمين ناخد بطريقتين وأم راح طلاها منها جوا منها نار
Again, welcome back, our dear viewers. We continue our live coverage for the explosion that took place today at Cairo's Coptic Cathedral, killing 25 people and injuring over 35 others. And of course, sir, we are joined over the phone by Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of Political Science. Dr. Hassan.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Sir, what's your take on the cowardly explosion that took place today at the cathedral, killing 35 and injuring more than 49 people, mostly children and women?
It's a very sad event, and it calls for reconsidering some of our orientation regarding the terrorists. There should be much more action, much more decisive actions for those people who claimed and announced it in a very clear way that they will go for violence and for terrible terrorism. The Ikhwan said that above boardly for everyone, and I don't think this will need some kind of reaction and need some kind of decisive rules. Besides the good steps that we have been taking for the last few years.
Yes, sir.
And also, I'd like very much to pay my condolences first to our brother and sister and kids, the Christian who really stood very firm against oppression of terrorists. And they sacrificed before several of their churches, unfortunately. But they knew and they know the name of the game. The name of the game with this event is to create sedition, but this will never happen, inshallah. And also, who targeted this place, he wants media, because no matter what you do, this would attract international media to try to give impression, false impression actually, regarding the dominant status in Egypt. And it shows that the country is exposed to this terrorist acts. But, you know, the world have to live with these terrorist acts everywhere. It shouldn't have an impact, a negative impact. There was a big explosion took place in Turkey. And nobody is behind the walls or behind the shields or can shield themselves from terrorist acts. Totally.
Yes, sir. Sir, of course, the timing of the explosion is very critical. It's a very, we do have many question marks about the timing of that explosion. How do you see it?
Of course, the timing is clear when you are doing it in relation to the birthday of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Yes, indeed.
This is a religious feast for Muslims in Egypt. And actually, the choice of that day is intentional. Is to go for the direction of the sedition, insinuation, trying to create cracks in the relationship between Muslim and the Christians, but this will never happen.
Indeed,
because the overwhelming majority of Muslims and the Christians in this country knew the name of the game, and they are ready to sacrifice till they eradicate together this kind of violence and this kind of terrorism.
Sir, do you see a link here between the final verdict again with capital punishment against Adel Habbara, the terrorist that killed many of our soldiers, and the explosion? How do you read that? Of course, nothing is sure, but the timing as well is very doubtful.
This is what I started out with when I was talking to you.
Yes.
Why? Because we need those people need to be severely punished because they are killers already. You know, legal procedures and legal stuff is for people who we can be in doubt or whether they are innocent or they are crime doers. He's a crime doer, and it is the evidence is unbelievably clear. So why there is no retribution and clear retribution from such a person and the like of him, and those who really say above boardly that they will go to a wave of violence. They never tried to go for a wave of reconsideration, reviewing their stupid ideas, which hurt the religion and hurt the politics and hurt their own people. If we are their own people, we are no longer their own people, of course. They are the enemy now, unfortunately.
Yes, sir. Sir, as we have been talking about unity among Egyptians to face the terrorism, what about the role of the international community? And Egypt is not the only country facing this growing waves of terrorism, but the whole world have witnessed these terrorist attacks, sir. So how the international community should stand together, should unite in order to face the growing terrorism worldwide, which is keeping no one safe anymore?
This is a very important question because it leads us to deal with a foreign ministry major task and the whole country major task.
Yes.
When it comes to what was called the war on terror, you know, you cannot design operation only in one part.
Yes.
The war in terror, because if you concentrate on Iraq, maybe some people fled to Libya.
Yes.
Or this has to be orchestrated. This has to be orchestrated together. The operation, the warless operations against terrorism, should include all the fronts together at the same time. Number one. Number two, those who really support terrorists and those who were discovered to support terrorists must meet their end, must meet the punishment, must be uncovered for the whole world, so as we know the enemy are much more better, and there should be much more orchestration, because what can hurt Cairo can hurt any major capital in the whole world.
Yes, of course. Dr. Hassan Wagih, our science professor, thank you very much, sir, for your precious input. And of course, our dear viewers will be back to continue our interviews and our coverage for the developments after the explosion that took place today at Cairo St. Mark Cathedral, killing 25 people and injuring 49 others. The St. Mark Cathedral is the seat of Egypt Orthodox Christian Church and is home to the office of the spiritual leader, Pope Tawadros II. The bomb was reportedly lobbed inside a chapel that stood adjacent to the cathedral outer wall. Prime Minister Sharif Ismail arrived at the site, and a team of public prosecutors were dispatched to the area as well to conduct investigations. Church sources said that the police are unloading surveillance cameras for information on the bombing. Police are also combing the area around the cathedral. Army and police hostels were ordered to open to receive the injured from the blast. Our dear viewers, we leave you now and we'll be back with more updates and coverage for the explosion and the aftermath of the explosion, so stay tuned.